I'm in search of a platform where I can get credible information of our daily happenings in Liberia and the world large.
Hello, Nontopa. My name is Greg Pa. Haven't you heard about Focal Online TV?
You say Focal Online TV?
Focal Online TV is located within a Topo village community along the Japanese highway.
Tell me more about the platform.
This platform, called Focal Online TV Daily Edition of Inside the Print Media, does not encourage any form of dialogue between the viewers and the presenters.
Oh, you mean nobody calling there?
No, you can't call on a show. Let me talking out like when we're no calling there. So all you can do is you will listen to the news, and they can also encourage you to buy the newspaper to listen to the news in details.
But do you do viewer recognition at times?
Oh yes, we do viewer recognition. When you are watching, we notify you, and sometimes we even appreciate you on a show, telling you thank you for always following us. We also encourage you to share the live stream, because the more you share the live stream, we transform and we transition ourselves as a broadcast team as well.
Wow. So when can I better get this program you are talking about?
This program is here every Monday to Friday at 10 a.m. to 10:45. The program runs for 45 minutes.
Wow.
And guess what?
Wow.
We bring you hot stories of our trending situation within our country, Liberia. Imagine hearing stories from Hot Pepper newspaper, from the Daily Observer newspaper, from Front Page Africa. Are you a lover of Front Page Africa?
Oh yes, I'm a lover of
Front Page Africa, and the Women Voices, and a lot more. Not forgetting international news, BBC,
wow.
CNN, ABC News. So we bring you headlines from those standpoints.
Wow, that is very, very, very amazing.
So we say, join us every day on the daily edition of Inside the Print Media at 10 a.m. with the headlines of top stories in our country and the world at large on Focal Online TV.
Good evening, good afternoon, depending on your geographical location. This is how I choose to welcome you to September 2024 edition of the program Inside the Print Media. Inside the Print Media, like we have always emphasized, is a print media magazine program where we highlight all of the trending stories relating to the newspapers in Liberia, and these newspaper feature top stories in our country, Liberia. For those of you who are watching, we want to say good morning to every one of you. Kindly share the live video to enable a lot of our people to actually get abreast with what is taking place in our country, Liberia. So this morning we have varieties of newspaper in our possession. We have the Front Page Africa newspaper, we have the Daily Observer newspaper, we have the New Dawn newspaper. Lastly, we have the Hot Pepper newspaper. So for those of you who are watching, keep sharing this live video to enable so many people to get informed about what is taking place in our country, Liberia. So let's run over strictly to the Front Page Africa newspaper. What is the Front Page Africa newspaper reporting this morning? Leaked conversation reveals Minister Mudas expressing frustration over lack of support from partisans amid corruption allegations. Leaked conversation revealed Minister Mudas expressing frustration over lack of support from partisans amid corruption allegations. So this is what the Front Page Africa newspaper is reporting. Another headline within the Front Page Africa newspaper: Senate hysterically passes recast budget during night hours, withholding, shifting, and realignment, which were illegally carried out by the executive previously. So let's bring you the first headlines from the Front Page Africa newspaper. A leaked conversation from a senior executive chat room of the ruling Unity Party has surfaced, revealing several concerns raised by Amin Mudas, the Ministers of Commerce and Industry. In the exchange, Mudas expresses frustration over the party's slow response to defend him against mounting public accusations. The conversation shows Muda pleading with party colleagues to stand by him during this difficult period. He voiced disappointment at what he perceived as the Unity Party's lack of urgency in addressing the claims, conveying a need for solidarity as he faces heightened public scrutiny. You choose to co-sign a letter as early as April in favor of Meta without consulting with your own, knowing already that the issues of a Meta contract has been lingering for a while. How can the party jump to your defense when you have no understanding of what informed these actions or undertaking? He said, what is very interesting is the fact that this time, when some of you are in distress and need the party's support, the party is not around. Even in some doubt or credibility, you could expect the party that you bleed for the cumbrance that you stood by you. Even if there were doubts and concern that you expect the leadership and certain individual could call to a certain the fast in attempt to defend and fight for their own. We might have some differences, but I have never failed to defend our own. However, Muda did not receive the sympathy he sought. Senator Dabla Vablat of Rankin-Ban County, senior Unity Party member, responded bluntly. You choose to co-sign a letter as early as April in favor of Meta without consulting with your own, knowing already that the issues about Meta contract has been lingering for a while. How can the party jump to your defense when you have no understanding of what informed these actions or undertaking? Muda has recently come on fire for allegedly using funds from Meta to purchase a luxury car. Additionally, Senator Nathaniel F. Magibi County has accused Muda of illegal wealth acquisition during his brief tenure. McGill, a former minister of state under ex-president George Weah, has called for an investigation by the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission, claiming that Muda abused his position for personal gain. McGill also revealed plans to present a communication to the Senate on September 24, urging immediate action. McGill further accused Muda of failing to settle $400,000 debt while serving as board director for the former First International Bank, now SIB, which McGill claims contributed to the bank collapse. He also questions Muda's acquisition of a luxury yacht, comparing it to the one owned by former President William Taupin. In addition, McGill alleged that Liberia Revenue Authority illegally purchased a vehicle for Muda, arguing that the LRA, as a revenue collecting agency, has no mandate to buy vehicles for government officials. In response, Muda issued a strongly worded statement refuting allegations and turning attention to McGill's own controversial past, including the placement on the U.S. sanction list for alleged corruption and human rights abuses. I saw Honorable Nathaniel F. McGill post. It is sad, Muda said. Search both our names and see who is on sanction and who has debt on their integrity. His name is linked to everything around with the last administration, from corruption and human rights abuses to poor governance. What is very interesting is the fact that in times of a distress and need the support, the party is not around. Even in some doubt our credibility, you could expect the party that you bleed for the cumbrance that you stood by to stand by you. But even there were doubts and concerns, you could expect the leadership and certain individual who call to ascertain the fast and attempt to defend and fight for one of their own. We might have some differences, but I have never failed to defend our own. That is a quotation from Muda. Muda denied any personal wrongdoing, clarifying the vehicle in question was purchased for the Ministry of Commerce with payment made directly to the vendor. He added that he has been using the personal vehicles since taking office and covers fuels and driver expenses himself. The Liberia Revenue Authority has responded to these allegations, clarifying that it did not purchase a vehicle valued at $150,000 for Minister Muda. The LRA confirmed it has approved the Ministry of Commerce request in May 2024 of $96,000 from a custom capacity building fund under the Destinations Inspection contract with Natex Scientific Limited. The funds were allocated to support the ministry's trade-related activity. The LRA has also noted that the funds from the Custom Capacity Fund had been managed by Meta based on a prior arrangement but were transferred to a newly established escrow account in July 2024. The LRA emphasized that the purchase and deployment of vehicles were the responsibility of the Ministry of Commerce. Addressing allegations of duty-free clearance for Modal yards, the LRA confirmed that no such clearance occurred. Instead, Modal had paid the required duties for a motor vessels in July 2024. The LRA firmly denied any involvement in bribery with METEC or any other business entity. The agency reaffirmed its commitment to transparency and called on media outlets to verify information before publications to avoid spreading misinformation. This misinformation has the potential to undermine revenue collections effort. The LRA statement signed by D. Kanyana Sengui, Manager of Communications, added. So with this being said, this is how we move over to another headlines on the front page Africa newspaper. Liberian Senate hastily passes recast budget over 9 hours, withholding, shifting, and realigning which were illegally carried out by the executive previously. Liberian Senate hastily passes recast budget during 9 hours, withholding, shifting, and realignment which were illegally carried out by the executive previously. In a hasty and shocking manner and form, majority members of the Liberian Senate Monday evening passed the recast national budget for fiscal year 2024, ignoring multiple issues raised by few colleagues through the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning to unilaterally carry out shifting and realignment of the budget during its first passage. The decision to pass the budget was taken during the 9 hours of Monday, September 23rd, after the senators endorsed the report from the conference committee set up to scrutinize the budget following disagreement with the one passed by members of the House of Representatives. The budget was passed in the term of 738.8 million, accepting majority of the shifting and realignment that were proposed by the executive. The unilateral decision taken by the executive to carry out shifting and realignment within the budget prompted a conduct of separate probes at both the House of Representatives and the Liberian Senate. However, no harsh punitive measures has been taken against anyone, though, and the maintenance of subsequent apology has been made by the Deputy Minister of Finance and Development Planning, Anthony Myers. Justifying the significance of the passage of the budget, Senator Prince Moy of Bon County disclosed that the decision reached by senators came after the holding of a 7-hour meeting by the conference committee comprised of members from both houses of the legislature to pass the budget. We consider the recast budget passed as per our law and rules. When a conference committee is set up and that committee comes with a report which is not debatable because you can debate it and issues coming up can go back to another conference committee. That is why the presider entertained a motion for endorsement. He claimed that a report from the conference committee cannot be debated, a move which prompted concern being raised by some of his colleagues to be downplayed. We consider the recast budget passed. As per our laws and rules, once a conference committee is set up and the committee comes up with a report which is not debatable, because you debate it and issues coming up, we can go back to another conference committee. That is why the presiding entertained a motion for endorsement. Senator Moy pointed out an assessment was carried out with some of the state-owned enterprises, thereby borrowing funds from them to meet their priorities. During the process, he added that 17.3 was brought to the recast budget with 9.9 coming from the borrowing. All of the projects we earmarked at the initial stage of the 2024 budget, to a very large extent, those projects will be executed as planned. He stressed the Ministry of Health and Education were restored to its normal allocation, which was proposed in the budget. In his analysis of the recast budget prior to the passage, Senator Anwar Conan of Bapolu County observed that spending entity rushed up to use up all of the appropriation in the last quarter of the budget year. He added that there was also unreconciled revenue between the Central Bank of Liberia and the Liberia Revenue Authority. Senator Cornyn observed that the rates of the budget include revenue, GST, and CIT, state-owned enterprise, and the late disbursement of too much cash in the bank. We need to understand how much of the 60 million of unspent revenue collected is encumbered, impact on development activities and economy, off budget and off the book expenditure. Despite this concern, the Senate failed to clearly disclose or provide the rationale beyond the passage of the budget during the night hours, with unresolved issues still lingering. Presiding Officer James Bannon justified that there has been no precedent of a conference committee report debated by lawmakers following its submission. A motion for the endorsement of the conference committee report to pass the budget was filed by Senator Bleb O'Brien of Maryland County. Following the motion, the yea and nay vote was entertained by the presiding officer, something which led to the passage of the budget. Though the Senate has ruled out this tide of voting on sensitive and key issue, a yea and no vote won't come at entertained during the nighttime session, prompting few senators to walk out in protest. So this is what the Front Page Africa is reporting, that the Senate historically passed the recast budget, although there were several other senators who expressed disappointment over the form and manner in which the budget was being passed. But yet still, a few senators at the Capitol building voted unanimously to pass the budget. So let's go over to the Daily Observer newspaper and see what the Daily Observer newspaper is reporting this morning.
Hello dear, my name is K. Lyndon Toba. I'm in search of a platform where I can get credible information of our daily happenings in Liberia and the world at large.
Hello, K. Lyndon Toba. My name is Grefina Korishpa. Haven't you heard about Focal Online TV?
You say Focal Online TV?
Focal Online TV is located within a Tobo village community along the Japanese highway.
Tell me more about the platform.
This platform, called Focal Online TV Daily Edition of Inside the Print Media, does not encourage any form of dialogue between the viewers and the presenters.
Oh, you mean nobody calling there?
No, you can't call on a show. Let me talking out like when we're no calling there. So all you can do is you will listen to the news, and they can also encourage you to buy the newspaper to listen to the news in details.
But do you do viewer recognition at times?
Oh yes, we do viewer recognition. When you are watching, we notify you, and sometimes we even appreciate you on a show, telling you thank you for always following us. We also encourage you to share the live stream, because the more you share the live stream, we transform and we transition ourselves as a broadcast team as well.
Wow. So when can I better get this program you are talking about?
This program is aired every Monday to Friday at 10 a.m. to 10:45. The program runs for 45 minutes.
Wow.
And guess what?
Wow.
We bring you hot stories of our trending situation within our country, Liberia. Imagine hearing stories from Hot Pepper newspaper, from the Daily Observer newspaper, from Front Page Africa. Are you a lover of Front Page Africa?
Oh yes, I'm a lover of
Front Page Africa, and the Women Voices, and a lot more. Not forgetting international news, BBC,
wow.
CNN, ABC News. We bring you headlines from those standpoints.
Wow, that is very, very, very amazing.
So we say, join us every day on the daily edition of Inside the Print Media at 10 a.m. with the headlines of top stories in our country and the world at large on Focal Online TV.
this morning, let's go over to the Daily Observer newspaper. And Daily Observer newspaper is reporting anti-terrorist financing law must be enforced. And you see a lot of government officials on this photograph. Let's give you the details here. Justice Ministers and Attorney General Councillor N. Oswa Twe has called for a robust enforcement of Liberia's anti-terrorist financing laws to help safeguard the country's financial system against illicit financial activities. Minister Twe collaborated with that terrorist financing activity are so detrimental to every country's financial system, with Liberia being no exception. He spoke on Monday, September 23rd, at the opening of a 5-day capacity building workshop on countering terrorism financing for national stakeholders in Liberia. The training is organized by the government in collaboration with the Intergovernmental Actions Group Against Money Laundering in West Africa, GBAT. The Attorney General, in his opening remarks, renewed the call for the collective regional and global preventive measures in attacking terrorist financing deficiencies that are undermining the integrity of all countries' financial system. Councillor 12 wants frequent capacity development for competent authorities and reporting entities to enhance the fight against terrorist financing and other financial crimes. He said in April, launderers and others who are allegedly involved in the movement of proceeds of crimes from one location to another need to be technically traced by competent authority based on pieces of evidence. The need to subsequently face prosecution for their involvement in illicit financial activity, he said, adding that illicit and illegal delivery channels can be used as a conduit for money exchangers and others to indirectly and directly exploit the regional and global financial system for their personal gain. The Liberian government, the minister noted, is strengthening efforts to fight terrorist financing by building the capacity of Liberia National Police, Liberia Immigration Service, National Security Agency, Liberia National Drug Enforcement Agency, and other government entities with lawful mandate to help sensitize Liberia financial system from waste and abuse. The Director General of GBAT, Edwin W. Harris, shared the same sentiment as the Justice Ministers on robust enforcement of national anti-terrorism financing law. There is a need for robust enhancement of the anti-terrorism financing laws in Liberia to help safeguard the country's financial system against illicit financial activities, Harris said. Harris noted that the fight against terrorism financing is not an isolated endeavor, but one that affects every nation and region. According to him, GBAT presence today in Liberia is a testament of the regional body's commitment to ensuring the Liberia financial system and the West African regional counterparts are not exploited by those who wish to do harm to the entire ECOWAS region and as well. He hailed Liberian government proactive stance in combating money laundering and terrorist financing in particular. I must acknowledge the decisive leadership of President Bouaka and the initiative of his government in waging an unwavering battle against corruption, the GBAT Director intoned. Director General Harris mentioned that the AML CFT efforts are essential not only for safeguarding financial integrity of Liberia, but also bolstering Liberia overall AML CFT anti-money laundering, countering, and financial terrorism framework. Liberia, he said, has made positive strides, but the country needs to exert more efforts regarding enforcing significant compliance work in Liberia. Liberia's recent mutual evaluation report highlighted several critical gaps within the AML regime. These deficiencies present challenges that can not afford to ignore as they impact not only the national security but also the nation's economic stability and reputations in the international community, DG Harris stated. He stressed that the 5-day workshop indicates GBAT commitment to implementing the directive of the authorities of head of African states and government, which recognizes countering terrorism and its financing as an urgent priority for the West African region. The GBAT director asserted that under ECOWAS Counter-Terrorism Action Plan 2024-2023, GBAT is responsible for implementing Component 6 which focuses specifically on countering the financing of terrorism. It disclosed that JIBA successfully trained over 100 trainers who have in turn disseminated their expertise in various national stakeholders. Harris narrated that the 5-day workshop represents a continuation of their efforts, further enhancing capacity of Liberia institutions to detect, prevent, and disrupt terrorist financing. Your dedication to strengthening Liberia's ability to combat money laundering and terrorist financing is both admirable and invaluable. The skills and knowledge you have acquired are essential to the success of weak training. I have full confidence that Liberia will make a significant impact in advancing the country's security and financial integrity, Director Harris urged. He noted that the training offers a unique opportunity for collaboration, exchange to engage actively in sharing experiences and learn from one another in the fight against terrorist financing. The officers in charge of the Financial Intelligence Agency, Mohamed Nasser, stated that Liberia's second round of mutual evaluation report released, that JIBA indicated that the country lacks technical capacity to professionally conduct in-depth investigations regarding terrorist financing cases. The FIA-OIC expressed optimism that the 5-day training will adequately improve investigative, prosecutory, law enforcement, and tax authority skills to timely probe terrorist financing cases, to have logical conclusions that are fact-driven, that will lead to possible indictments and subsequent prosecution by the courts. Officially opened the FIA JIBA Capacity Building Workshop on CFT. Simon Frank, Deputy Director General for Liberia National Police for Crimes Services, explained that without due diligence in the fight against money laundering, the financial climate in Liberia and other countries will unequivocally be hostile in the advantage of criminals who are constantly engaging in money laundering, dirty monies, and other fronting the means at the detriment of the law-abiding individual organizations and governmental regulation. The LMP Deputy Inspector for Crimes and Services holds the belief that the training will sharpen the collective skills for the participant to detect, prevent, arrest, and investigate suspected individual organizations, banking institutions that are allegedly linked to terrorist financing. He said money laundering disguises financial assets without detecting the illegal activity that produced them. Frank wants robust enforcement of AML laws because online banking and cryptocurrencies have created delivery channels for criminals to transfer and withdraw money without direct detection. Meanwhile, the ongoing trend seeks to highlight another vital step in JIBA's and Financial Intelligence Agency of Liberia efforts to combat the growing and forever evolving threats posed by terrorism and the illicit financial flows that fuel it. Some of the participants attending the ongoing countering and financing of terrorism capacity building workshop include the National Security Agency, the Liberia National Police, the Liberia Immigration Service, the Liberia National Drug Enforcement Agency, Financial Intelligence Agency, Liberia Revenue Authority, and the Ministry of Justice. Others include the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning, Central Bank of Liberia, Center for Transparency and Accountability in Liberia, Liberia Extractive Industry Transparency Initiative, Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission, National Lottery Authority, Liberia Business Registry, General Auditing Commissions, and the Internal Audit Agency. The Liberia National Police Deputy Director for Crimes and Services pleaded with participants to understand and work strategically for the strict enforcement of anti-money laundering measures, international standards, and procedure for combating terrorist financing in Liberia. So with this being said, this is how we move over to another headlines on the Daily Observer newspaper. Government Diaspora Office constitutes steering committee. Government Diaspora Office constitutes steering committee. That is another story seen within the Daily Observer newspaper. The government of Liberia, through its Diaspora Office at the Ministry of State and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, has constituted National Steering Committee to organize the first ever Diaspora Liberian Annual Return 2024, scheduled to take place from December 1 to December 31st, 2024. On the theme, Liberia, the destination of African diaspora. The event invites Liberians and individuals of Liberian heritage from around the world to return home, celebrate their cultural roots, and contribute to the country's socio-economic development. This initiative is in line with President Joseph Boakar's arrest agenda, which emphasizes the growth of sectors such as tourism and infrastructure. The Diaspora Office is headed by Erasmus T. Williams, the President Office at the Ministry of State for Presidential Affairs, and co-chaired by Mr. Charles Blake at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. It has established a National Steering Committee composed of members of both private and public sector to organize plans and host this year Lara 2024. The Steering Committee is chaired by the Ministry of State and Diaspora Office and co-chaired by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs Diaspora Office. The Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism will serve as the secretariat alongside with 3 members of the civil society organization, including the chairpersons of the planning committee. Full membership of the steering committee is as follows: the Ministry of State for Diaspora Office, chair; Ministry of Foreign Affairs, co-chaired; the Ministry of Finance, MICAD, National Repatriation and Resettlement Commission, National Investment Commission, the Ministry of Commerce, the Chamber of Commerce, Bureau of Investigations, the Liberian National Police, the Liberia Airport Authority, the Ministry of Health, Ministry of Internal Affairs, FLY, LINKSU, House of Senate, House of Representatives, the Ministry of Youth and Sport, Liberia Business Association, Liberia Diaspora Organization, ULI, and the European Federation for Liberian Association are also classified as members. For the civil society organization, Dr. Clarice Paul, Kula Emmanuel Webtoon, and Edwin Nyango will serve as private panel to this year edition. So that's it. Let's take a short break. When we come back, we fill you in with the New Dawn newspaper only because of time.
Hello dear, my name is K. Lyndon Toba. I'm in search of a platform where I can get credible information of our daily happenings in Liberia and the world at large.
Hello, K. Lyndon Toba. My name is Grefina Nkorishpa. Haven't you heard about Focal Online TV?
You say Focal Online TV?
Focal Online TV is located within a Tobo village community along the Japanese highway.
Tell me more about the platform.
This platform, called Focal Online TV Daily Edition of Inside the Print Media, does not encourage any form of dialogue between the viewers and the presenters.
Oh, you mean nobody calling there?
No, you can't call on a show. Let me talking out like when we're no calling there. So all you can do is you will listen to the news, and they can also encourage you to buy the newspaper to listen to the news in details.
But do you do viewer recognition at times?
Oh yes, we do viewer recognition. When you are watching, we notify you, and sometimes we even appreciate you on a show, telling you thank you for always following us. We also encourage you to share the live stream, because the more you share the live stream, we transform and we transition ourselves as a broadcast team as well.
Wow. So when can I better get this program you are talking about?
This program is aired every Monday to Friday at 10 a.m. to 10:45. The program runs for 45 minutes.
Wow.
And guess what?
Wow.
We bring you hot stories of our trending situation within our country, Liberia. Imagine hearing stories from Hot Pepper newspaper, from the Daily Observer newspaper, from Front Page Africa. Are you a lover of Front Page Africa?
Oh yes, I'm a lover of
Front Page Africa, and the Women Voices, and a lot more. Not forgetting international news, BBC,
wow.
CNN, ABC News. We bring you headlines from those standpoints.
Wow, that is very, very, very amazing.
So we say, join us every day on the daily edition of Inside the Print Media at 10 a.m. with the headlines of top stories in our country and the world at large on Focal Online TV.